Okay, hello everybody, good morning. Welcome to today's Train Sim World 2 live stream. We are on the Riesa to Dresden route. We're doing this scenario called Follow the Leader in the DB BR442 Talent 2. We are going to take control of a diverted RB31 service and travel to Dresden via Radable, something like that. Anyway, let's get in here, get everything set up, and start the scenario. And then we will wrap up our first stream of the morning. Follow the leader. Okay. Tasked with this RB31 service and completing the run to Dresden. Hop on. Currently, the regional. It's like we've got some. Okay, let's change this. Let's put some contrast on so it's just a little bit easier to see. It's not so glaring. There we go. Dresden is next. Increase our speed up to 100 kilometers an hour. Good morning, Pithers. I'm okay, thanks. How are you? There we go. Sure, we'll have some more folks in the chat here. Not bad. It was okay. I didn't really, just did the streams and that was, didn't really do anything much else. We had some rain last night. We were supposed to apparently get a really bad storm, but I think it kind of, it stayed, we caught the edge of it, but nothing really major. So, supposed to be kind of warm and humid again today, thanks to that. Yeah, it's good. Didn't really do too much. saw that flashing yellow. Let's see if this one's flashing as well. Close to it. As if to suggest that we need to start watching our speed. Or maybe it looked like it was flashing because maybe it was something. No, we just have that 60 coming up. Oh, it's 60 right there. That's why. That's probably why it was flashing. Okay. I was not paying attention. We'll be on time here, for sure. Thing to stop. Well, at least we're all on the platform. No doubt about that. Morning, Pithers. Good morning, Patrick. The weather here was meant to be a bit rubbish, but wasn't in the end. Yeah, I heard. I kind of caught the weather early this morning. Over there, that it seemed like there was going to be a lot of storms, but maybe kind of like what happened with me, it was pretty much we caught just the edge of it, and that was sufficient enough, I think. All right, so these are working, yeah. So I think when you do the training scenarios, the PIS boards do not display any information. But once you start doing the scenarios or timetables, I think they start working. The video clip was the goalkeeper. Oh, okay. I was like, I was perplexed. I was like, wait a minute, Mick, did you like move somehow and you just got on the other side of the net? That was strange. That was really strange. I didn't realize you had streamed FIFA and made a clip of that, or I guess you can go back and on the replay you can make a clip or something, maybe, I don't know. That was kind of funny though, but it was like after a while I thought for sure the other player was just going to go in there and kick the ball right back into the goal and score another goal, you know. Interesting. Nidaru. So let's stop. There's a lone locomotive just flying through with line here. Hello, Milla. Yeah, it was an old one. No one could go near the ball. Oh, that's weird. So basically, it was he basically had to kind of quit the match, and then I guess or forfeit or something. nice starry evening here on the Dresden route, as I call it. I figured this would be a good one to do this morning. It doesn't seem like it's going to take too long to do. But then the Talent 2 does look really good as well, I think. So nice evening service scenario, whatever you want to call it. Get a scenario knocked out. Hopefully pick up a few more points on the getting my achievements. Now, before I started the service, I was trying to run around and find some of the collectibles. I've found maps so far, but I have not found anything else. And I have to redo the walkthrough because I was like, I know there's got to be more. It's the maps, the first aid kits, the painted gnomes, and something else, and I couldn't remember what the other one was. So, yeah, try to work on some of that. I need to get, I've still got to get Cane Creek wrapped up. I'm still missing the 2 pits. And then the Boston to Providence, I got to get going on that as well. Usually there's achievements for finding all the completing all the jobs on the route. Okay. Let's see that there. We will definitely have quite a bit of time, so I'm going to pop out here and try to get some of the collectibles while we're here. Saw a map here somewhere, I thought. There it is. Okay, so that's... Oops. Oop. Let me get that. There we go. Okay. Oops. We don't want to start coasting down the hill. So hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Saw the, well, not exactly the results, but the shenanigans there. Monza with Max and Lewis. I don't know. I saw Peter Windsor's analysis, and I did not read the comments or anything. So I know everybody, of course, will blame Max for what happened. Because, of course, Lewis is always blameless in these incidents. I don't know, I always thought that, you know, if you are coming out of the pits, you've changed tires, your tires, of course, are going to be cold. You got to get them up to temperature, although I think they do use tire warmers, but they're not as, they can't get it all the way up to operating temperature. You know, it takes a lap or two for the tire to heat up, and you get some really excellent grip that way. Most drivers would not try to challenge the leader coming out of the pits. I think that was a bit bold of Lewis to do that. Maybe a bit foolish, to be honest. It should have been Max's corner, but, you know, it's racing. Racing is racing. Drivers are going to do what they think is the best choice. But unfortunately, it meant that both cars were put off and their races ended. But I guess in a way that's good, because neither one of them scored any points. And I did hear that. Well, I didn't watch it. I just, last night, as I was kind of relaxing, I didn't watch the race. I just watched, you know, usually within an hour or so, or a few hours after the race is concluded, or that same day, Peter Windsor does an analysis of the race, you know, and all that. So that's what I just thought it was. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw enough, and I'm like, yeah, I better not go in the comments, because people are going to be, you know, they'll only blame one driver in the whole thing, and 99.9% of the time they are not going to blame Lewis. They're going to say it was his corner, you know, he did the right thing, it's all Max's fault. And I heard that Kimi Räikkönen has announced his retirement after 20 seasons in Formula One. I wish he had won more championships with Ferrari. Would have been nice to see him take Alfa Romeo to the championship, of course, but I don't think that was happening either. They're not. Did I open the doors again? Oh, maybe I did. Oops. Coswig is next. Yeah, well, I mean, there's drivers who do some questionable things in the all with the notion of I'm going to win at all costs kind of thing. A lot of people thought that was Senna's sort of mentality, that he was untouchable. You know, if somebody crossed him, that was an unforgivable sort of thing. And I think when drivers are desperate to win, and that's kind of what it is, it's a moment of desperation. You're going to take chances that you otherwise wouldn't take. And it's a 50-50 chance. Either it's going to work out in your favor or it's going to cause a problem. And obviously it put, you know, as Peter Windsor was discussing in his video, here comes Hamilton in Max's right peripheral, right? And so now Max has to start making decisions very quickly based on his peripheral vision. And, you know, he, of course, got it wrong in a way. He didn't handle it the best way possible. I don't know what the stewards decided. I don't know. I mean, the way that it seemed to be was that Max was on the hotter tires. He had the momentum going into the corner. But as Peter Windsor said, you cannot expect that Lewis was going to let Max through and then fight with him further on into the lap. So was it just? It seemed to be an error in judgment. Lewis was trying to do something bold. It didn't work out. Max was trying to defend his position, I think, on track. It didn't work out. So now both of them crashed out, you know, which isn't what you want to see happen, but Lewis forced Max to making a decision, I think, that Max was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? You know. So, but that's Lewis giving people a bit of chin music, and then when it doesn't work out, of course, it's not going to be his fault. You know, there was plenty of times I get that Michael Schumacher made some questionable moves. Senna did the same thing. You know, as Peter Windsor said, both drivers could in theory be blamed because both of them didn't act. They didn't make good decisions, so they both share some blame. Although it seems then it's okay. So is it just a racing incident and nobody gets punished, or does one driver get punished, or you know? And who's it? If one driver gets punished, who's it going to be? Now, I would think, as the driver coming out of the pits, the punishment would go to Lewis because you're not up to full race speed coming out of the pits. So either you were speeding, which is very possible, or you accelerated so quickly that Max was forced to make a very quick decision, which didn't work in his favor. So I don't know if the stewards decide. I wonder if it is going to be Lewis's fault, because he was coming out of the pits, and usually it's like on the freeway, the driver who's merging on, it is your responsibility to merge with the traffic in a safe manner. Now, of course, racing, there's not really such a thing as a safe manner when it comes to racing. But a third place. So if he qualifies on pole, then he's bumped down to fourth place. Basically, what you're saying. Yeah, and Nick's right. Yeah, it's. But I think that kind of put Max in a difficult position, because suddenly here's Hamilton in his right peripheral. And so he's trying to make a decision real quick. How am I going to handle this corner? And he did get it wrong. But I do think Lewis bears some of the blame as well, because he knew what he was doing was going to put Max in a bad position. He was trying to force Max to lift and let him through, and then that way he could go on and win the race, and act like he was blameless in the whole incident. And Max would have said, well, Lewis did this to me and I was forced to lift off because otherwise we would have caused an accident. It's Lewis playing the very games that he doesn't like played on him. I guarantee you, if the roles were reversed, he'd be decrying, him and Toto Wolff would be saying that Max was acting, with little regard to the other drivers on the track or something. I hate to see that. Yeah, exactly. But that's I'm starting to see is that the census is that Lewis is never to blame for anything. It's always the other driver's fault, especially if it's Max Verstappen. Because the media journalists in F1 prefer. I don't think they like that Max is challenging Lewis. They don't want anybody to challenge Lewis, because they want all of Schumacher's records broken by Lewis, and that's the whole. That seems to me the whole goal. When it's their favorite, they don't want anybody to say anything, and nobody's dare challenge him, because Lewis is, in a way, it's like he's protected from scrutiny. So I just yeah, that's the other thing too. That's what I'm saying. It seemed like it put Max in a very bad position all around. That no matter what he was going to do, it wasn't going to end well. Even like you said, even if he had lifted and let Lewis through, he still would. This corner was screwed for him either way. So that's why I think Lewis knew what he was doing going into that corner, or coming out of the pits. He knew he was going to put Max in a bad position. And I get it. He wants to win another championship. It's that times of desperation are starting to come. And when you're desperate, you make bad decisions. You start putting other drivers at risk, but you don't like it when it's done to you. So Lewis ought to think, if the roles were reversed, we already know how him and Toto Wolff would have handled it once questioned. Or Toto Wolff would have ran to the stewards and said, Max needs to be penalized. Do something about it. So, yeah, I think that's what Peter Windsor was trying to say, that neither one was willing to give an inch. And as time went on, since either one was going to give, that just set everything up for them being off the track together. And yes, luckily they both walked away with no major injuries. You know, I don't like Lewis as a driver, but I wouldn't wish him to be injured or killed in a racing incident. Whereas I'm not so sure that people feel the same way about Max Verstappen, quite honestly. Especially the diehard Lewis fans, who I would venture to say probably have said some rather unkind things about Max over the past 24 hours, up to and including probably wishing him dead. Now, see, I thought, unless they change the rules, that once you, when it comes to the racing, coming out of the pits, you have you have to go past a certain part of that line in order to be able to make a move against somebody on the track. Like, I thought that was that only after a certain point they would be able to defend or make a move on another driver on track. If you were fighting for that position. So I don't know if he had crossed that point or not. I'm assuming he did, because if they investigate and it turns out that he wasn't clear of the reasonable point of coming out of the pits, then yes, then he probably should get a penalty as well. Not even probably, he should get a penalty as well. Because his tires were going to last longer than Lewis's tires. They both walked away and McLaren got a 1-2. Yeah, so that's good. Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo? Yeah. Who, that was a very questionable move in the off season for him, as it seemed that Red Bull were on the cusp of. Yeah, that's the other thing too. If Max had lifted, could he have challenged? Could he have just gotten through corners 1 and 2, those very slow corners there at Monza, and basically gotten was able to chase Lewis down and pass him for the lead? That's very possible. But in the heat of the moment, I don't think either one of them were thinking about further on in the race. It was just that moment. Now I wonder if Well, I guess they do have a right to an appeal. Red Bull does. I wonder if they're going to appeal. I'm sure. You know. Well, I'm sure Max's crew told him that Lewis was coming out of the pits. There's no doubt about that, but I guess maybe the way that the distance closed was probably quicker than they expected. Maybe that's why I'm thinking the acceleration of the Mercedes out of the pits that put, if Max is coming down the main straight full bore, it doesn't leave him much time to react, I guess. So even if they had told him, I think everything happened so quickly. And I'm sure they told Lewis, hey, Max is on the main straight. Or he's out of the parabolica. And he's coming down the road quick. He's already up in top gear and he's floored it. So they had to have known. I think it's just that it seems to be that the speeds, the distances close so quickly that they just made some. They didn't have enough time to make sound decisions. It seems like. And for that part, I think it's Lewis's fault. But at the same time, Max could have lifted and said, "Okay, I'm going to let him go through, and I'll chase him down. I've got the tires. You know, my tires are in better condition. I'm going to go get him and retake that spot from him." But I don't know. Yeah, that's true too. But even at that point, it seemed with Silverstone, a lot of the people were ready to blame Max, even though he was ahead. That's the part that I don't care for, is that when it comes to any incident with Lewis and Max, everybody's quick to blame Max. And if you dare to blame Lewis, oh, you're a terrible person for blaming him. He's never at fault. You know, if I go back and watch some of Schumacher's races where people were like, yeah, those moves were questionable, he shouldn't have done this or whatever, I'd probably go back and say, yeah, I can see where you feel that way. But in the heat of the moment, I would have not listened to any criticisms of Michael. You know, because when it's your driver, you don't want to hear those criticisms. You don't want any questions of, you know, bad driving, you know, or unsportsmanlike conduct, as they like to call it. So anyway, that was a rather pleasant discussion. I'm glad that we all can share our views and not be disrespectful about it. But that's part of the reason why I don't always watch the races, because it seems I got the points. Oh, now it says it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and lock the doors anyway. Well, that wasn't too bad of a, in my book, if you think that apex, if you hit that apex first in your corner, my book is not wrong. I agree, Mick. I get you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Again, it was a bad position all around. I think. But anyway, that's that scenario. We got that completed. That wasn't too bad, quite honestly. I didn't know what to expect. I thought for sure we'd have another one of those. You don't make it all the way to the end, that because of some other incident on the line, you are going to stop your service there and until the line is cleared or whatever. So anyway, that's going to be it for now. I will see you all in a couple hours. Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're going from Mannheim to Munich. I did look up. Yeah, it did. And I think just having the conversation kind of just helped the time go by quickly. I did look up the approach information online. So I'm gonna kind of validate that, kind of check that out as we fly, just to see what happens, or what our approach looks like, and compare it to the information that I looked up online last night. So just to see how close are we getting to what information's out there, or do we have to make some adjustments to that? So anyway, that's going to be it for this morning. I will see you all in a couple hours. Till then,